Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. Fish with hands. A strange fish with hands has been spotted by scientists in Australia. The scientists who found this bizarre creature compared seeing this unusual sea dweller to finding a needle in a haystack. It's called the pink handfish, and it looks like any other fish, except that it scuttles around on the seafloor using its bright red hands. The fish is so rare that it hadn't been seen in over 20 years. The most recent sighting came thanks to an underwater camera put beneath Tasman Fracture Marine Park. Researchers were thrilled when the camera picked up the handfish, the first one seen by human eyes since 1999. It's strange that the fish is so elusive considering it lives in shallow water. Scientists say it must be critically endangered, otherwise there would likely be more sightings of them. There may only be a handful of them left, crawling around on the seafloor off the coast of Australia and Tasmania at the depth of around 300 feet. And in case you were wondering, these creatures really do crawl. They look absolutely bizarre, with a pair of feet or hands on the bottom of their body and then some longer hands extending from the sides, off of what look like extremely stubby pink arms. Their bright red eyes, pink lips, unusual appendages, and dorsal fin make these rare and likely endangered fish look like some kind of Pokemon. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Number 9. An ancient sea screw. Back in the 1990s, something strange was found embedded in a piece of rock. It looks to be a perfectly preserved screw, practically fossilized. The strangest part about this particular discovery was that researchers supposedly managed to date the object to being somewhere near 300 million years old. There is no debating the shape of the object discovered in the rock. It clearly looked remarkably similar to a modern-day screw, unlike anything found naturally in the world. This led people to speculate that there was a highly advanced human civilization hundreds of millions of years before humans evolved on Earth. Either that, or there were aliens living on the planet with their own technology back when humans were still in the distant future. No one knows the truth. The object has been a point of debate for nearly 30 years. The group in possession of the ancient screw isn't making things any clearer or easy to verify their claims. They haven't given the supposed screw to any other scientists for testing, which has led experts to dismiss their claim as fake. Additionally, scientists have already come up with a different explanation. The best hypothesis put forward by experts who have seen the photos of the supposed screw is that it's actually an ancient creature. They say the screw shape is a marine creature called a crinoid. There are over 600 species of these creatures that are extinct right now, with several still alive today in our modern seas. They have changed a lot over the years, but have been around in more or less the same form since 440 million years ago. The fossilized screw looks identical to a fossilized crinoid. Number 8. Glowing snow. Scientists were left baffled by the bizarre discovery of glowing snow in the Russian Arctic. Mikhail Naritin, the son of a molecular biologist, made the discovery while walking through the snow with his 2 dogs. This was near a remote field station on the White Sea coast. Much to his surprise, when he made a snowball, he found the snow would glow more brightly the harder he squeezed it. The more pressure, the brighter the snow. When he looked behind him, he saw that his footprints were glowing a vibrant blue. Even the dog's footprints were glowing. The boy ran to get his father, and together they collected some snow and took it back to their laboratory at the field station. They then observed a sample as it defrosted under a microscope. What they found was that the snow was filled with aquatic organisms known as copepods. These are small crustaceans that can be found in both fresh and saltwater habitats. It wasn't actually the snow that was glowing, but the very tiny copepods. The glowing organisms were not a revelation, since the species is known to glow in the ocean. The beautiful phenomenon can be seen along coasts all over the world, but it's never before been seen on land, never mind in the snow. This was the very first time the phenomenon was documented in the Arctic. Scientists have yet to figure out how the organisms made it from the sea into the Arctic snow, and are still investigating. What would you do if you noticed that your snowball was glowing? Let me know in the comments. Number 7. Underground alien structure. UFO researchers believe they have just discovered an ancient underground alien structure hiding in Antarctica. They made the discovery by looking at satellite images of the continent via Google Earth. In the middle of the ice and snow, there appeared to be some kind of structure half excavated. Even more shocking is that when the researchers changed the time and looked at earlier satellite images, they saw that the alien-like structure was gone. Instead, there was an airport runway carved through the snow, dozens of trailers surrounding a large mound of ice, and what looked like scientific and military vehicles. Putting the pieces together, it really looks as if the military stumbled upon something extraordinary, maybe even extraterrestrial. They then brought in their equipment to excavate it, revealing an underground structure that had been buried for an undetermined amount of time. Either that, or they were building their very own military installation deep in Antarctica, where it would be hidden from prying eyes. Either way, it's a weird discovery that's only being talked about by fringe internet scientists. What do you think? Secret military installation? Alien discovery? Something else? Tell me your theories below. Number 6. The Little Ice Age and the Great Dying. Scientists have discovered new evidence regarding the Little Ice Age of the 1600s and the Great Dying of indigenous people in South America. It's been estimated that in the century after Europeans arrived in the Americas, over 50 million indigenous people died. They died as a result of slavery, warfare, and epidemics. This terrible part of history is called the Great Dying. In 2019, scientists in the UK proposed that in the areas of forest where the native people had been killed off, the forests regrew and helped cause a miniature ice age. Because the native people had cleared the land when the Europeans came and eradicated them, that land regrew as wild forest. The new trees then absorbed enough carbon for there to be a dip in the global atmospheric CO2 levels. This anomaly caused the entire world to get just a little colder in the 17th century. However, an even newer study done by Mark Bush from the Florida Institute of Technology and his colleagues have revealed that this might not be the case at all. They used radiocarbon dating to trace sediments from the bottoms of 39 lakes throughout the Amazon basin. They did find evidence of forest clearing and burning and of regrowth, but they doubt that the amount of regrowth contributed to a dip in CO2. Number 5. Rock art in the Scottish Highlands. Strange stone carvings dating back hundreds of years have been found in the Scottish Highlands by an amateur archaeologist. The prehistoric artwork is located on the mountain of Ben Lars, but it's not the kind of art you're probably thinking of. There are no bizarre images of alien figures or curious hybrid animals. Instead, the art consists of cup and ring marks. Helen Cole from the National Trust of Scotland says the discovery is highly unusual because the rock has way more cup marks than normal, at least 90 on a single piece of stone. There are also some linear grooves, but no one is quite sure what those mean. Then again, what the artwork means is a mystery as well. It's similar to other pieces of prehistoric rock art found in the Scottish hills, all of which are a complete enigma. They all seem to show the same symbols, rings, as if someone had laid cups all over the stones and their bottoms left ring marks. All the experts can say for sure is that the Scottish Highlands was a significant landscape in prehistory. It's just nobody knows why the ancient people from hundreds and thousands of years ago felt the need to imprint rings into every piece of rock they came across. Number 4. A strange discovery at Petra. A strange new discovery has been made at the ancient city of Petra. Archaeologists were shocked when they discovered evidence of white sandstone in the remains of this lost city. It was a surprise because the valley in which Petra was built is filled with nothing except red sandstone. They now believe the presence of the white stone is a hint as to how the powerful civilization declined and went extinct. Petra was built as a thriving hub for culture, politics, and economics by the Nabateans. These were the dwellers of the desert in what is now modern Jordan, and the gatekeepers of trade through the region. The Greeks were so jealous of the wealth being accumulated by the Nabateans that they tried to take Petra in the year 312 BC, but they failed. When the Romans arrived centuries later in 106 AD, they did not fail. Petra was annexed, renamed Arabia Petraea, and the Romans took over the city for the next 250 years, while the Nabatean people were slowly erased. It was in the 4th century that a massive earthquake ripped the city of Petra apart and caused its importance to wane. It was also around this time that sea routes were becoming much more popular for trade, extinguishing the old Silk Road. But archaeologist Tom Paradise doesn't believe this is the whole story. He and his team uncovered beds of massive white sandstone in 2017. It didn't belong in the city. He believes that the mysterious chunks of stone are evidence that it wasn't just an earthquake that destroyed Petra, but a massive flood of over 20 feet. The white sandstone was brought from far away and swept through Petra on massive waves, ultimately sealing the fate of the city. Number 3. The vegetable planet. Astronomers have just discovered a planet with one of the strangest shapes ever seen. Rather than looking like a spherical globe, like pretty much every planet, this one looks like a vegetable. An international team of astronomers working closely with the European Space Agency were on a mission to discover exoplanets when they found the vegetable planet. It's called WASP 103b. Believe it or not, it's bigger than the Sun and over 1.5 times larger than Jupiter. It's 1,500 light years away from us, circling an F-type star. So what kind of vegetable does it look like? Scientists say the planet is shaped like a potato. The scientists believe that because of its close proximity to its home star, tidal stresses have pulled the planet in such a way that it morphed from its original marble shape into that of a potato. It's less than 20,000 miles away from its star, and so all that gravity has kind of yanked it into an oblong, vegetable-like shape. Number 2. Galveston Island's ghost wolves. In Texas, there is a population of strange canids that scientists believe could help revive the highly endangered red wolf. They live on Galveston Island, and these canids, about the size of coyotes, prowl the beach at night with their eyes gleaming in the darkness. If you look closely, you can see that the Galveston Island wolves are a little unusual. Their legs are too long, they have broad heads and pointed snouts, and their fur is distinctly red. They also have white patches on their muzzles. This is because these canids contain rare bits of DNA from red wolves, American wolves that were declared extinct back in the 1980s. Yes, there used to be wolves that were red, and they lived in Texas. The discovery of the Galveston Island wolves and their genetic past is thanks to local resident Ron Wooten. The wolves ran off with his dog back in 2008, and that was when he took an interest in the creatures. He began studying them when everyone else assumed they were simply pests and a danger to their own pets. He then reached out to scientists, believing he had stumbled upon something really fascinating. And it turned out he was right. These wolves are descendants of the extinct red wolves, although mixed heavily with coyotes. It's unclear yet if scientists can use their DNA to help bring back the red wolf, but it's the closest hope they have. Number 1. Ancient giants. A strange discovery back in the 16th century convinced people living in London that giants were real. It was allegedly a leg bone, over 25 inches long. According to 16th century historian John Stowe, the locals all thought it was the shank bone of a human being, one of extraordinary size. There was a massive one on display at the Fair Parish Church of St. Lawrence. There was also another one on display at the Parish Church of St. Mary Aldermanbury. In truth, both of the giant leg bones came from a mammoth, but the local Londoners had no idea what a mammoth was in the 16th century and simply assumed the bones belonged to giants. Someone had dug them up from the dirt somewhere, brought them to the church, and it was declared the giants were real. It helped that there had been stories of giants for hundreds of years before the discoveries were made. On Ferdinand Magellan's voyage in 1520, he and his crew reported seeing giants on the beach when they landed in South America. It wasn't a huge stretch to believe that prehistoric giants had existed in London before humans showed up. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon for more amazing videos. Bye!